Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to my YouTube channel. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of coin collecting, and I've got something truly special to share with you. We're talking about the 1960 USA 1-cent coin, also known as the Lincoln Memorial Cent. This little piece of history has captured the attention of collectors worldwide, and I'm here to tell you why it's so valuable, its incredible history, and how much you could potentially earn if you're lucky enough to own one. So, sit back, relax, and let's explore the story behind this iconic coin. First, let's talk about the history of the 1961 cent coin. This coin is part of the Lincoln Cent series, which was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The Lincoln Cent is one of the longest-running coin series in U.S. history, and it holds a special place in the hearts of Americans. The 1960 version features the iconic Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side, which was designed by Frank Gasparro and first appeared on the penny in 1959. This design was used until 2008, making the 1960 penny a key piece of this historic series. Now, you might be wondering, why is the 1961 cent coin so valuable? Well, there are a few reasons. First, it's all about rarity and condition. While millions of these pennies were minted in 1960, finding one in pristine, uncirculated condition is incredibly rare. Coins that have been well preserved over the decades can fetch a premium price, especially if they have unique characteristics or errors. Speaking of errors, the 1960 penny is known for having a few varieties that are highly sought after by collectors. For example, the 1960 D small date and large date varieties can significantly impact the coin's value. But what really makes the 1961 cent coin stand out is its historical significance. This coin was minted during a time of great change in the United States. The 1960s were a decade of social and political upheaval, and this penny serves as a tangible reminder of that era. Owning a 1960 penny is like holding a piece of history in your hand, and that's something that collectors are willing to pay top dollar for. Now, let's get to the part you've all been waiting for. How much is this coin worth? Well, the value of a 1961 cent coin can vary widely depending on its condition, variety, and whether it has any errors. A typical circulated 1960 penny might only be worth a few cents, but if you have one in uncirculated condition, you could be looking at a value of $560 to $990 or more. And if you're lucky enough to have one of the rare varieties, like the 1960 D small date, you could be sitting on a coin worth hundreds of dollars. In fact, some of the highest grade examples have sold for over $2,000 at auction. But here's the thing, coin collecting isn't just about the money. It's about the thrill of the hunt, the joy of discovery, and the connection to history. When you hold a 1961 cent coin in your hand, you're not just holding a piece of metal, you're holding a piece of the past. And that's something that's truly priceless. So, if you've got a 1961 cent coin in your collection, or if you think you might have one lying around, don't underestimate its value. Take the time to examine it closely, check for any unique characteristics or errors, and consider getting it professionally graded. You never know, you might just have a hidden treasure in your possession. And if you're new to coin collecting, the 1961 cent coin is a great place to start. It's affordable, widely available, and full of history. Plus, it's a great way to get your feet wet in the world of numismatics. Who knows? You might just catch the collecting bug and find yourself on the hunt for more rare and valuable coins. Before I wrap up, I want to remind you that the value of a coin isn't just determined by its price tag. It's also about the stories it tells and the memories it holds. The 1961 cent coin is more than just a piece of currency. It's a symbol of a bygone era, a reminder of the people and events that shaped our world. And that's something that no amount of money can buy. So, whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, I hope this video has inspired you to take a closer look at the coins in your possession. You never know what treasures you might find. And if you do happen to have a 1961 cent coin, congratulations. You've got a piece of history that's worth its weight in gold. Next up, the 1965 penny, just a common coin? How could it possibly be valuable? Well, my friends, that's exactly what we're here to explore. I'm going to break down the history of this coin, its potential value, and why it could be a hidden gem in your collection. So, let's get started. First, let's talk about the history of the 1965 1-cent coin. This coin is part of the Lincoln Cent series, which began in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The Lincoln Memorial design on the reverse side, created by Frank Gasparo, was introduced in 1959 and remained in use until 2008. The 1965 penny holds a unique place in history because it was minted during a time of significant change in U.S. coinage. In 1965, the U.S. Mint transitioned from using 95% copper in pennies to a copper-plated zinc composition due to rising metal costs. This makes the 1965 penny one of the last coins to carry the traditional copper composition, adding a layer of historical intrigue. Now, you might be wondering, if millions of these coins were minted, how could they possibly be valuable? That's a great question. While it's true that the 1965 penny is not considered rare in circulated condition, there are certain factors that can make it highly valuable. For starters, coins in uncirculated or mint condition are always more desirable to collectors. If you have a 1965 penny that's never been used, it could be worth significantly more than its face value. Additionally, errors and varieties can dramatically increase a coin's worth. For example, some 1965 pennies were struck on leftover 1964 planchets, the metal discs used to make coins, creating a rare and sought-after error. But let's talk numbers. What is the current value of a 1965 1-cent coin? In circulated condition, a typical 1965 penny might only be worth a few cents. However, if you have one in uncirculated condition, it could be worth anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 depending on its grade. And if you're lucky enough to have a rare error coin, like one struck on a 1964 planchet, the value could skyrocket. Some error coins have sold for hundreds of dollars at auction. That's right, a penny could potentially be worth hundreds of dollars. Isn't that incredible? Now, let's talk about the future. Could the 1965 1-cent coin become even more valuable in the years to come? Absolutely. Coin collecting is a dynamic hobby, and the value of coins can fluctuate based on demand, rarity, and historical significance. As time goes on, fewer 1965 pennies in pristine condition will remain, making them even more desirable to collectors. Additionally, if new varieties or errors are discovered, the value of certain 1965 pennies could increase significantly. So, if you have one of these coins, it might be worth holding onto it for a while. You never know how much it could be worth in the future. But here's the thing. Coin collecting isn't just about the potential financial gain. It's about the stories behind the coins and the connection to history. The 1965 penny is a tangible piece of the past, a reminder of a time when the U.S. Mint was adapting to economic challenges and changing the way coins were made. When you hold a 1965 penny in your hand, you're holding a piece of that history. And that's something that's truly priceless. So, what's the maximum value a 1965 1-cent coin could sell for today? While most 1965 pennies won't make you rich, there's always the possibility of finding a rare error or variety that could fetch a high price. As I mentioned earlier, some error coins have sold for hundreds of dollars, and in exceptional cases, even more. The key is to examine your coins carefully, look for any unique characteristics, and consider getting them professionally graded. You might just discover that you have a hidden treasure in your collection. If you're new to coin collecting, the 1965 1-cent coin is a great place to start. It's affordable, widely available, and full of historical significance. Plus, it's a fantastic way to learn about the intricacies of coin grading, varieties, and errors. Who knows? You might just find yourself hooked on this fascinating hobby. Before I wrap up, I want to remind you that the value of a coin isn't just determined by its price tag. It's also about the joy of discovery, the thrill of the hunt, and the connection to history. The 1965 1-cent coin is more than just a piece of currency. It's a symbol of a pivotal moment in U.S. coinage history. And that's something that no amount of money can buy. So, whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, I hope this video has inspired you to take a closer look at the coins in your possession. You never know what treasures you might find. And if you do happen to have a 1965 1-cent coin, congratulations. you've got a piece of history that's worth far more than its face value. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more exciting content about coins, history, and everything in between. Until next time, happy collecting.